if you don't feel comfortable with your videos on, feel free to turn your videos off. We will be sharing this video recording later on. All right, before starting the session today, I'd like to start by acknowledging the unceded land of the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, on whose land our UTS City campus stands and where I'm working today as well. And Gadigal people have been nurturing this beautiful land for centuries with their wisdom, with their knowledge and customs and culture. And I'd like to pay my respects to the elders, past, present, and I'd also like to extend my respects to any Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples who are here today with us in this session. We will be covering quite a few different things today. We'll start with introducing Bachelor of Creative Intelligence Innovation, the degree or the program that we offer. And then we're going to talk about Industry Innovation Project, which is a subject we are inviting you all to partner with us in this subject. We are going to cover values and outcomes of being our industry partner. And we're going to also share with you the key dates, the commitments and requirements for partnering with us. And we also will be sharing some tips with you in terms of how to write a competitive EOI for these partnerships. We will be having some time in the end and we'll be spending some time for answering any questions that you might have. So feel free to write down your questions in the chat room, chat space. We will read it, or just simply unmute yourself and ask your question during Q&A. So let's start by introducing ourselves. My name is Leila Kanjani Nejat. I'm the subject coordinator of Industry Innovation Project. I had the privilege of being the subject coordinator for 2 years. Next year will be 3rd year. I'm joined with my colleague, Luis Lozano Paredes, who will be supporting me in coordinating this subject. We have Amanda McGregor, who is our Director of Strategic Partnerships, today with us. We also have our Manager of Work Integrated Learning Partnerships, Ben Crosario. Sorry, my apologies. And we also have Karina Aquino, who is our Industry Partnerships Officer today with us. Our partnerships team will be those who will be staying in touch with you and supporting you in writing your EOI as well. I am going to invite Amanda to give you an introduction of the program that we have.
Hi, everyone. So great that you could come. Really good to meet you. So you probably, I'm going to just take it up a level. We are from Transdisciplinary School. So we're a pan-university strategic unit that works across all of the disciplines and faculties within UTS. And we build bridges and between fields of study and expertise. And often described as our flagship program, the Bachelor of Creative Intelligence and Innovation, which you'll hear described as BCII from now on probably. It's a world-first transdisciplinary combined degree. It's radical in its ambition, combining students from 27 degrees from across the University of Technology, Sydney, from all of those 7 faculties you can see listed there, in a future-oriented, industry-engaged curriculum that's the first of its kind in Australia. Industry partners have been systematically involved in the program design and student experience from well before the program began in 2014 until today, a decade on. So industry the industry engagement staff, you've just been introduced to Ben and Karina and also myself. We work closely with the academic teaching staff to identify needs and opportunities within the various BCI subjects, like Industry Innovation Project that you're hearing about today. And we onboard our partners into the BCII philosophy, and in particular, the need to leave space for students to create innovative solutions to partner challenges and transcend traditional roles like client, consultant, expert novice, or supervisor intern. Instead, achieving partnerships of mutual learning between students, partners, and staff. Within these subjects, students tackle complex challenges through a breadth of disciplinary practices, increasing perspectives, insights, and possibilities that all emerge in a liminal space that allows for emergence and innovation. So as a result, Industry Innovation Project subject is a very different experience from the standard capstone available across most universities. And a very impressive statistic we're very proud of is that 95% of BCI graduates are employed within 4 months of graduating from this program, based on 2022 data. So this flagship degree and the style of educational delivery has become a beacon for UTS Future's learning educational model, and together with industry engagement has won the team prestigious international and national awards, and the program has been licensed globally in North America, and we're looking at more markets now. Can we go to the next slide, please? I just wanted to give you a little bit of information about the learning model. The model that underpins the learning design in BCII is the future-oriented capabilities framework, which was developed by UTS academics at the forefront of their field. And the program itself is designed to respond to complex societal and environmental challenges of our time. And those factors, and that you will experience it through this learning experience, is systems thinking and foresight, creativity and innovation, collaboration and integration of diverse perspectives, agency, change-making and leadership, ethically sustainable and socially responsible practice, self-awareness and reflexivity, and practical and technical know-how. So this is what you'll experience as you engage in this subject through our students. And this all comes together through the educational partnerships and collaboration with an extraordinary base of more than 2,000 partners from 900 industry, community and government collaborators who actively seek to work with our students. So when you join as a partner in the program, you're joining an ecosystem of innovative and future-oriented partners, students and UTS staff blazing a trail in their field and changing the future for the better. So welcome. That's me.
Thank you, Amanda. So I'm going to just share with you a quote from one of our course co-founder, Professor Bamla Hunt. She's a trailblazer in this space and continue to really drive the transdisciplinary thinking and approach. And with this program, we are really encouraging our students and our future generations to make the world a better place and navigate complex challenges that our world has been facing and will be facing in the future as well. So our program, as Amanda said, and also the subject itself, both are award winners. And as you can see here, there are so many awards that are listed here. I'm going to go with a couple of them, including the Australian Award for University Teaching and the recent one, which is the International Green Gown Awards, which is about fostering the next generation learning and skills. Our subject, which is Industry Innovation Project, had been a case for a few publications and papers as well. And we also presented the successful stories of our subject in renowned conferences, including Engagement Australia and the Australian Collaborative Education Network, ASIN, just a few days ago as well. So I'm going to give you, if I can find my mouse, In terms of where the Industry Innovation Project, or I'm going to call it IIP because it's easier to say, where IIP fits into the program of Bachelor of Creative Intelligence and Innovation. It's a fourth-year subject and it fits here. Our students pass different subjects in the first 3 years in intensive moods. They come to us during winter and summer school. They take their own core degree. As Amanda said, this is a double degree. They take their own discipline like any normal students, and during their winter and summer break, they come to us to take intensive subjects in the first 3 years. But when it comes to the fourth year, they come to us for the whole year, and they take some of these semester-long subjects, including Industry Innovation Project, with us. I'm going to give you a bit of more details and introduction into the subject itself. As subject coordinator, Luis and I work very closely with our students to make sure that they understand the subject's requirement and learning objectives and guide them through this project. We have a team of experienced tutors with us that will be mentoring and guiding students. So students will be having weekly classes and meetings with tutors, helping them to make progress into the project. And they will be also having weekly meeting with you and the lead of the project in your organization to provide them with the resources and your guidance as well. Just give you a bit of context in terms of the subject itself. IIP, it's fourth-year subject. It's a capstone-like subject. It runs for 12 to 13 weeks, and it starts from 10th of March next year, and it will go on until the first week of June, where our students deliver their project and present their work. The key element of this subject is to draw on the idea of learning through industry engagement by working on a real-world challenge and exposing students to the idea of perceiving how things work in the real world and what are some possible complexities that are attached to it. Teams include 5 to 6 students from diverse backgrounds. We have students coming from business school, from law, medicine, IT, engineering, social sciences, design, etc. So this creates a very unique situation for teams to work together, and having members that, you know, they do not necessarily think the same or see a matter the same. But the thing is that we all know that can be quite challenging. But our fourth-year students, they have learned to translate and synthesize their knowledge across different disciplines. This is one of the unique aspects of our students and teams, and they develop the ability to find a way forward, to work together from different disciplines and to rely and also benefit from the strengths of each member, differences and, you know, different knowledge as well. Before starting the subject in January and in February, we will present your challenges and brief to our students, and they will vote and choose for top 10 preferences. Then we will use these preferences to form multidisciplinary teams. And we will make sure that we have students from different disciplinary backgrounds in each team. So when the subject starts in March, teams are already in place and confirmed with you as well. So in terms of our students, some of you have partnered with us before, and will be able to tell the experiences and the stories that you have working with our BCII students. But what makes our program and our students a bit special and stand out? We use a transdisciplinary approach, which is a form of work-integrated learning with industry engagement. But besides having multidisciplinary team, which is a unique aspect of our program, our students comes from, different disciplinary background, but they are also equipped with tools and skill sets to do experimentation with different concepts, and which they have learned in the past 3 years, including creative methods, future thinking, entrepreneurship, complexity, leadership, and applying stakeholder engagement, critical and system thinking, and also reflexive process, while they promote and adapt into the problem-solving skills as well. So a bit more details for you in terms of what is the overview of the subject, how students and everyone can navigate the progress of the project. We will be having, during that plus 12 weeks, students have workshops and classes with us that they will be attending in a large studio-like space that we have on campus in UTS. So the teaching team will be guiding students through the whole structure. We will be having weekly classes and weekly meetings and tutorials with them. But besides that, there are 4 major phases that the project and students will go through, which I'm going to explain a bit more in detail. So, this is how we try to navigate and help students and our partners to navigate the subject. The first few weeks, which is phase 1, we spend, and our students and teams will spend time in taking on the brief and unpack and dive into the project, explore the project, and unpack the challenges and the complexities attached to that, and also try to understand the need of different stakeholders that are involved in the project and the challenge space. Then in the second phase, they go through reframing and pivoting in the midway, setting pathway for the second half of the project. They may, look at the challenge that you offer to them from a different angle, and they might change the original brief as well, in terms of, reframing and pivoting the angle. And the direction might change, but whatever that happens, they will need to have your agreement for moving forward. So whatever that happens in pivoting and reframing will be in agreement with you. The third phase is experimentation and prototyping. It's for them to spend some time testing their ideas and prove their concepts. And the last phase, which we call it the home stretch, is the reporting and diffusing their innovative ideas to the partner organization and beyond. Another unique aspect of the program is that many of you might be familiar with having interns in your organization, but what is another unique aspect of this program is that we really encourage partnerships, which is all about mutual learning. During the program, we do equip our students with tools and practices and concepts and skill sets that can really help them to, to view the complex challenges that they have from different perspectives and from a different angle, and use creative methods and practices in solving their problems. On the other hand, we do know that our partners are experts in their fields. We know that you are experts. We know that you know your field very much, very good. And our students will learn a great deal from you about the topic. And they also get experience in terms of working in professional work setting, which is extremely beneficial for them. So our hope and purpose and all of our effort is to create an environment. And we do also encourage both our students and partners to view and nurture the relationship as partnership and collaboration, rather than a novice expert or intern instructor relationship. Students, need to have the autonomy and be able to challenge the common worldviews. and they are expected to do that. That's part of their assessment as well. They need to challenge the way things are normally done. And, you know, that's one of the main expectations and skills that our students have. And they've been trained to look at matters and challenges differently while engaging with different stakeholders. And from past experiences, I know that most of our partners who join us, they have such a mentality and attitude. They embrace being challenged and have a new lens of looking at their challenges. So this element is really prominent among our partners who join our program. So they actually want to have, you know, fresh new perspectives and have the willingness to hear new ideas and diverse perspectives that it might shake up and challenge their thinking. So if you have very specific type of solution in your mind, including a specific time frame or product or results, then we really encourage you and suggest you to take our internship program. For this specific subject, it's all about having an open solution-based space for our students and giving them the freedom and autonomy to explore. And I'd say that it's really only through this way that our students can offer you creative and innovative ideas and results that may come up with it. So we'll be talking about these partnerships and the relationship between partners and teaching team, and also with the student team a bit more in details before starting the subject in March. But I'm going to leave it now here. Would be more than happy to answer any questions that you might have about this in the end. Now I'm going to pass it to Lewis, who will give you an overview of the value of being our partner in IIP.
Thank you, Leila, and thank you everyone for taking the time for joining us today. In terms of the value of why doing this, right? Why joining us in this journey, which is, as Leila mentioned, not focused on the idea of a product or an internship or something that the students can engage with preset elements, rather in an open space in which you can explore together with them solutions, but also maybe more questions or more topics around a challenge or around something within your own organization that you think can be addressed with this transdisciplinary view. And I want to address a little bit of the concept of transdisciplinarity, because sometimes it's not that clear to a lot of people. But to make it super simple, and we can talk about work integrated learning, we can talk about all the skills that we're bringing to the equation of how do we handle issues. But basically, the idea of transdisciplinarity is very basic. You have a problem, you have a challenge, a situation that is very difficult to resolve with the traditional thinking or silos that we talk in academia of the different disciplines. Maybe you have an issue that cannot be solved just with a design perspective and needs some of a more technical or more soft skills social science perspective. Maybe you have something that is related to a particular issue on health, but that needs an extra element of human engagement and of technology to address these things together. So when a challenge is that complex, needs that participation of different views to give something back to the real world. Because one of the main points of transdisciplinarity is that it actually goes into the real world, into your organization. So that's basically what we're talking about. This combination of knowledge to go into let's call it an outcome for engaging with that organizational challenge that you may have. And in this, it's a very good, important, and it's a great opportunity, in my experience, for the organizations we have worked with to first embark on a journey of mutual learning. You will learn a lot from the students, from what they give, from what they provide in the different methods and the different theories and the different ways in which we engage with things. But they will also learn a lot from you, how the organization works, what are the limitations, but also what are the perspectives, what are the potentials that you identify. And basically, at the end of the day, is exposing your organization. And I've heard testimonials from industry partners that have said this to us, is being exposed to this way of engaging with the problems or the complexity of issues. The combination of knowledge to co-create something new that can actually be used in the real world in your organization. And that's an injection of innovation, of fresh ideas, new ways of thinking, new methods that you might be familiar with, but you haven't explored in that particular way. And the students are also super, super, super keen always to engage with you and to they always bring these fresh ideas. I've seen when their eyes start to sparkle with this new idea that they want to present to you. So it's an amazing opportunity to actually engage with this freshness that they give. And of course, it's a potential pipeline for future recruitment opportunities, because at the end of the day, these students are so innovative and so willing to engage with your topic, but also with the complexity of this organization. So they are super, super good hiring potentials in the structure of this partnership that you establish with them. If we can go to the next slide, Leila, please. And this is an example from Cricket New South Wales. I don't know if Daniel has joined us today. I can see him on the guest list, on the participants list. This is a quote by him saying, "Off the back of this experience, and I've only got great things to say, we've ended up with tangible outcomes we're hoping to pilot across the organization." And that is essential. And we can talk about more in the questions at the end of the session. But it's this idea that this is stuff that they are producing, that these students are engaging with you, and actually something that you might pilot across the organization. And there are great opportunities behind this, because again, the freshness of these views, together with this idea of combining the knowledge from different perspectives with different methods, or with methods that, again, you might know, but you haven't explored in a different way, to actually get you an outcome for your organization that you can implement, a pilot. That is a super, 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 super great opportunity. I've seen amazing engagement from part of our partners in the past year in particular. So we're very looking forward to this structure. So I'll give it now to Ben, who will explore a little bit more on the partner commitment side.
Thanks, Lewis. Thank you. I'll just give you an overview of the required investment and stakeholder roles during the project. From past history and experience, we say it's about a minimum 30 hours of time to invest across the 12 or 13 weeks. And as with anything, the more you put into something, obviously, the more you get out of it. There's two key components of involvement from your organization. There's a project lead, and the project lead's the main point of contact for the project. They're required to attend all mandatory sessions, and I'll go through the key dates in those shortly, and engage in weekly meetings with your assigned team. The project lead will need to support students in connecting with stakeholders across your entire organization, to interview, to get research, and to get access to any other organizational resources, so they can begin to understand and unpack the problem space before moving on to the next stage of their project. The executive sponsors, each project must also have an executive sponsor, and this is someone in the organization who has decision-making capabilities to support the strategic input and impact of outcomes. As Lewis had mentioned, a lot of these projects will sort of bear the fruit of giving you something that is tangible that you may want to implement in your organization. And we want to make sure that there's buy-in from all parts of the organization, from top down. So if there was something that was to be implemented, it wasn't a surprise to anyone at the end of the project. It's probably good to note that the project tends to be more front-loaded with regards to the partner involvement. So in the first few weeks, the students will deep dive into the problem space, and this is where they'll need more support from you, from the project lead, and people that they may need to get information from, or do research or interviews from. And that's probably something to note for anyone who's an existing partner, because I know we have a mix of existing partners as well as fresh partners on the call, that last year, the project lead and the executive sponsor could have been the same person, but for 2025, you need to have two separate people. So the project lead will have the most sort of hands-on with the project, and obviously you need a separate person to be the executive sponsor. I'll just move on to the next slide, which is talking about some key dates, which are obviously we'll share this with partners as we move forward, but it's good to go through some of these. So the project lead, as mentioned, must be available on the following dates. It's mandatory. So if you do partake in this and get selected, they do have to come to these. So the 6th of March is the partner briefing, and this is where you'll meet the tutors and fellow partners involved. The following week on the 13th of March, this is a welcome event. And this is where you get to the exciting part. You get to meet the team that you're going to be working on for the 12 to 13 weeks on your complex challenge space. And then in February, we have 2 weeks, and obviously there'll be a component in there. So between the 7th of February and the 11th is when you'll have a check-in period, so that your team will actually do another check-in and sort of reframe with you in terms of where they are at the project and what they're thinking. And then the following week is when the tutors who are actually helping the student teams will check in with the partners, the project lead in your organisation. Obviously, this is important to make sure that everyone's on the same page. There's no surprises at the end of the project. And between the 2nd and 3rd of June, you'll be allocated a time for your student teams to present to you. And obviously, we'll confirm that with you closer to that time. I'll now pass it on to Karina, who will talk about the expressions of interest process.
Cool, thanks, Ben. So I guess first things first, as you can see that the expression of interest submissions are now open until the 9th of December. All of the submissions are done through UTS Career Hub, which is our primary platform for this process. But we do understand that sometimes writing up a compelling expression of interest can be a little bit tricky. So that's why we're offering you some support to help strengthen it if needed. If you would like this support, make sure you submit your expression of interest by the 6th of December to give us the time to review, provide any valuable pointers, and ensure that your submission shines for student selection. To access this expression of interest form, you can either scan this QR code or access it in the link. On this page, as it will take you to Career Hub. On this page, you'll find other key details that's required, and you'll also find an example of an expression of interest. It's quite straightforward, but if you do need any assistance in setting this up, you can always contact us. But for now, I will hand this over back to Lewis to share with you some initial tips and guidance on how to actually craft an expression of interest form.
Thank you, Karina. So basically, it's kind of straightforward, but it's a good thing to actually make that preparation to have a compelling EOI submission. At the end of the day, we will have the students doing that selection. So it's amazing if you could actually combine all the knowledge that you have in your company, but as possible, make it clear. Present a clear challenge of what they're facing. Sometimes we have maybe open spaces, and that's good, but it's very important that whatever is that is challenging in your organization, whatever you think that might use the skills and the value that the students bring to you, make it very clear. Just make it very clear. This is it. This is what we want the students to engage with. Very important, and I enable connections. This is an opportunity to connect students with multiple stakeholders who can provide perspectives. It's not just within, of course, stakeholders within the organization, but maybe any opportunities of building up that you can find. If your expression of interest includes an element of this stakeholder connection, it will be great. Be open-minded. This is very important because this is one of the essences of transdisciplinary thinking. The fact that you are presenting a challenge, but that challenge can be reframed, reworked, reinterpreted by the students, mean at the end of the day that you have to expect that your challenge or your space, even with all the knowledge that you come from your organization, will be viewed from different angles and addressed through different approaches that you might never thought before. And you will be like, okay, what is happening? What is this? Why are you challenging in these baselines? But we want you to be open-minded and an expression of interest that actually is aware of this open-mindedness need to engage with the challenge and open it up into potentials. That's very important. It is very important to value the diversity. So teams will be made up with students, as we mentioned before, from all faculties across UTS. You will have students from design, architecture, and building. You'll have students from law. You'll have students from business. You'll have students from engineering and IT. You will have students from health sciences. So this is very important that all this structure of work will have this diversity, and this diversity is valuable, and they will personally resonate with your challenge. So this diversity, this engagement, something that is open to different views and different eyes, different set of eyes, is very important to include. And very important as well, a realistic implementation. And this is, at the end of the day, we're talking about piloting eventually this idea that the students present into your organization. So any realistic implementation that offers a real opportunity, the student work can actually make impact into your organization, is essential. And that's what the students want to see and what we want to see in this partnership that we want to establish with you. And of course, ensure you have the resources available to make this happen. I can give the example, one of our previous partners actually took their project into the big boardroom of decision-making, one of our students, and is piloting as well. And as I mentioned before, with the case of Pre-K New South Wales, is also the ability to pilot in real world implementation, this idea that the students are bringing. Can you go to the next slide, Leila, please? And I'll bring it back to the partnerships team to engage with the legal requirements.
I'll take that one. So you probably would have already heard this if you've spoken to us, but it's UTS policy that UTS students own their own intellectual property rights in the work they create in their degrees and coursework, unless an agreement to the contrary has been signed. So that includes IP in the reports they create. For those of you that have done this before, you'll know those reports are pretty big and there's a lot of fabulous stuff in there. So it is possible for industry partners to transfer for students to transition the rights to industry partners. We need to do that through a transfer of IP, and we will need any kind of intellectual property, non-disclosure or confidentiality agreements to be presented to the partnerships team well in advance, so that we can be across the IP position for each industry partner. I will add that this is a competitive process, and the most popular ones are often the ones where students are able to retain IP. And what we find is that there's often the value is in the experience and the ideas and the approach and the insights that are coming from the students, not necessarily in the intervention or proposal that they come up with in relation to the complex challenge. So just we ask you about that in the expression of interest form up front, so that it's really clear and students are informed when they make their voting decisions. One thing that we have a copy of the agreement that we will share with you, so you can start reviewing that ahead of time. We encourage you to do that before the voting takes place, because often legal teams need a bit of time with those sorts of things. The agreement is between UTS and the organisation, but the work that happens is between the industry partner and the student. That's why we say if you need it, confidentiality or any kind of assignment of terms, that will happen when you meet your student team and you want to start sharing information with them. We don't see that information, so that are confident those agreements are direct with the students. Our the tutors and the UTS staff also do not see those materials, and they are bound by their confidentiality agreement within their employment agreement with UTS. So they do not, in addition, need to sign anything with industry partners. But if you have any questions about that, we can always take those afterwards or offline. It's an area a lot of people have questions with, but we encourage people to consider allowing students to retain IP, because it just helps with keeping them really engaged, and they put a lot into it anyway. But it's just we've had some really sizable multinational companies that have done that, and so we're always hopeful that more and more will come on and allow students to retain IP. Thanks.
I can jump in.
Yes, Ben, would you like to go on?
Yeah, for sure. If obviously we've told you a lot of information so far today, but if you want to experience a bit more of what makes Bachelor of Creative Intelligence and Innovation special, and what the students get taught and sort of their thought processes and things like that, you can come to our Creative Intelligence Capstone Showcase. This is on November 12th, and there's a QR code there. And obviously we'll share this afterwards if you want to register for that event. It's an immersive and interactive event. It'll be in our BCII studio, which is a dedicated space that our students work and collaborate in. You'll see what matters to this generation and the next, and be inspired by their passion projects. So something that they feel very, very strongly about, or something that's sparks their interest, and that's what they'll be working on or have worked on. And this will be the event to showcase that to all the audiences there. You'll discover what transdisciplinary approach looks like in practice, and what new ideas can be born out of this environment, and possibly the possibilities of an injection of this into your organizations. And you'll also have a chance to meet the future change makers, the consultants, the designers, the strategists, and researchers, and see how their skills can drive innovation and transform potentially your businesses and the workplaces of the future. So please, if you do have the time, come and join us on November 12th, and we'd love to see you there.
So this is the end of our presentation. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us and being patient while we went through all of the information. If you have any questions, you can always get in touch with our Transdisciplinary School Partnerships team. Their email address is here, and there will be key resources that have been or will be shared with you. I'm actually going to stop recording now, and I'm gonna stop recording and stop sharing so we all can see each other. And